Since you use your speaking voice most of the time, a lot more than you would probably use your singing voice, wouldn't it make sense to address your speaking voice in order to help you with your singing voice? If you're interested in learning more, stay tuned today. You may have some habits in your speaking voice that have crept in that keep you from achieving a better singing technique. And even if you haven't gotten into bad habits in your speaking voice, it would make sense to build better habits. So here are a few things to consider. Are you speaking on the right pitches? Some people have the tendency to speak too low or too high. So now I'm speaking just a little bit too low for my voice. It doesn't sound really weird, but it is actually too low. If I spoke like this all the time, it would strain my voice. The same would happen if I'd speak just a little bit too high. And if I speak on this level all the time, it will probably strain my vocal cords and strain my throat, and it will feel weird, and I will get exhausted, which will also affect my singing voice. So, having a good speaking pitch and varying the pitch is really important in order to not get strained. So, pay attention when you're speaking that your melody doesn't become monotonous, but that you do use a lot of ups and downs. Ups and downs. You lower your voice when you come to the end of a sentence, and you raise your voice quite a bit when you pose a question. Do you understand? This is the technique I use when I do longer interviews, or I have to do a lot of moderating, or I'm recording an audiobook, or recording my podcast sometimes. I try to have a lot of variation in my voice color, in my melody, in the pitch, and also in the intensity, also in how tight the vocal cords close. I can be a little bit more relaxed, or I can be a little bit more compressed. Already be aware of all of those elements in your speaking voice, because if you can't master these in your speaking voice, you're not going to be able to master them in your singing voice. And since the speaking voice oftentimes works in a more intuitive way because we don't try to sound a certain way, it lends itself to really practicing good habits so much better because we don't get too tense. Are you speaking too loud most of the time? Or don't you have sufficient vocal cord closure? When you have a too breathy tone, that could be an indication of a problem that isn't only going to manifest itself in your speaking voice, but very much so in your singing voice. If you have major problems in your speaking voice, the reason for your lack of good technique in your singing voice may be just that. You may even need a speech therapist to help you fix those problems. And whenever you want to tackle anything in singing, come back to your speaking voice. Try to draw the parallel. So the way I'm speaking right now is in chest voice. So that same level that I'm speaking on right now, I could use probably in a verse part of a pop song. So I am using my chest voice. I'm relaxing more on the bottom, and I'm getting a little bit more intense on the top. But all in all, I stay in a very much speaking-like manner. So this is how I breathe. I pay attention to good support, which brings me to my next point. Pay attention to breathing also when you speak. When you catch yourself just catching a quick breath or gasping a lot, and maybe speaking on the upper end of your breath, meaning you're always inhaling but you're never fully exhaling. Or if you find yourself on the end of your breath all the time, meaning you don't inhale fully ever, but you always find yourself almost out of breath. So you're always speaking like, here, I'm almost out of breath, and then I'm inhaling just a bit, and then I'm speaking again until I'm out of breath, and then I'm breathing in just a bit. And so you never get through the cycle of inhaling fully, speaking through your entire breath, inhaling fully. Of course, when we speak, we don't always speak that way, but when you speak for a longer period of time, that could be very beneficial to help you pace yourself a little bit better. Also, when you speak, let's just say you're telling a story or you're talking about something that you experienced, try to illustrate more with your voice colors. Get into the habit of using more than just plain voice. Oh, did you notice that? Oh, that was so beautiful. Oh, and then I didn't feel good at all. I was so sick that day. Using some vocal fry, using a little bit of breathiness. Use those voice colors and allow yourself and pay attention to what you do technically. Because a lot of times when you sing, and when I tell my students, use a little bit of vocal fry onset, they have no idea how to do it because they never paid attention to how they actually intuitively already do it. And everybody does that sometimes. Everybody does these voice colors sometimes that express their emotions or their mood or their opinion. The way I feel about something, I can't just stand that anymore. See how that, I'm using my voice colors, and just by paying attention to everything I do in my speaking voice is going to help me access exactly those sounds in my singing voice, because then I know how to kind of push that button and trigger that sound. So consider all these things in the future. Pay attention to your speaking voice. Make sure you're using good habits in your speaking voice, like using the right pitches, variations, breathing correctly and supporting correctly, paying attention to sufficient vocal cord closure, and then parallel that in your singing voice. Thank you so much for watching today. Give the video a thumb up, one thumb up if you liked it, and subscribe if you have not already. Hit that bell symbol so you will be notified when I go live, and then we can have a live chat and I can answer all your questions. If you're interested in my 4-month masterclass program in which I can coach you one-on-one, check the link below. It's not open yet, but it will be open soon. Have a wonderful day, and always keep on singing.
Makes me feel sad for the rest. I'm being gay and reckless. Anything is possible.